Hi there, Aries. Welcome to your end of May 2018 General Tarot update. It's Rena. I'm starting over again, and I started calling you Pisces. It was very interesting, but very inaccurate. So here we go. The heart of the matter is the Daughter of Cups. And this corresponds to the Page of Cups. By the way, this is the Wild Unknown Tarot, so they do use different terms sometimes. Now, the Page of Cups on the bright side is somebody who is very trusting, innocent, could be a literal child. But in this particular spread, it may be that your gullibility, your overly trusting nature, got you in a hot mess of some sort. And actually, with Aries, because I did get the same card in the same place for Pisces, and I think this card corresponds with Pisces. With Pisces, it's more of like this thing of compassion, eternal compassion for everybody. But with Aries, sometimes it's merely not seeing the warning signs, being very oblivious, not paying attention to little details, because you're so active, you're doing your own thing. And plus, you know, say what you will about Aries, and I have plenty to say about Aries people, but one thing that I will give them is that they are very, I think they're very above board a lot of times. They may be in your face, but they're above board. And some people don't like people who are in your face, because I'm a Sagittarian, and that's a fire sign too, you know, and that kind of bluntness and that thing. But at least you know where we're coming from, right? So Aries people are the same way, and it's just like what you see is what you get. There's no artifice. There's no facade. So you assume everybody else is like that too, and you know you have another thing coming, because this person, and in this deck these are these court cards are owls for whatever reason, but they relate to, this is the Mother of Swords, is the Queen of Swords, but this is in a challenge position. So this could be a cruel woman. This could be your mother. And if she is your mother, she could be a narcissistic person who has this thing where she lures you right back into it so she can dump all over you again. Because the Queen of Swords is can be a woman, an older woman who is verbally abusive. Now, it doesn't have to be your mother. It could be a female boss. It could be an older sister who kind of sees herself as your mother because you have a big gap in your ages. It could be like a friend. Maybe you have a long-term friend, or even I guess it could be a recent friend, but she just doesn't respect you. And maybe you go through these cycles where sometimes she's okay, and then sometimes she starts, you know, trying to start something with you. And these kinds of things can be very distressing because you may just want to have a smooth ride, and these people are trying to start things. Although with Aries, I don't know if you really want a smooth ride. You can troll with the best of them, but it just can be some situation that is not a healthy cycle, and you keep falling for it because maybe they either apologize or they start acting nice again, and then you get caught up into it. The foundation card is the Daughter of Swords. So we have the Page of Cups and now the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is a card of, I mean, this is in the upright position. If this is like a family situation, there could be sibling rivalry that is to blame for this. And maybe you feel like your sibling was a golden child and they got all of the praise and you just were the one picked on, or at work. But see, when I see Page, I think of like, I'm sorry, daughter, I think of literal family dynamics, you know. But the Page of Swords, as as a foundation of the reading, I think that Aries people are starting to get the memo that they have to be vigilant. They cannot allow little details to escape them. So, I mean, the Mother of Swords, this could be a mother-in-law, a stepmother. It shouldn't be taken away that this is your mother necessarily. This could be anyone, especially an older female, who has that difference in age to you, that they would have that authority over you, or at least the age over you. And maybe you just keep getting in the cycle of believing them and then them verbally abusing you. And the Page of Swords is about you seeing things as they really are, and actually and it's about paying attention to details. But this is the spiritual message, and this is actually about seeing things as they really are so that you can forge a new path. Especially if this is, well, no, it could be your work, but especially, I would say especially if it's your mother, okay, or a stepmother, somebody who raised you, or that you deal with a lot. Some Aries people may be stuck in the past. This is very unusual for Aries in general, because you tend to be very forward moving thinking. But if you have the moon in Cancer, Cancer rising, that can keep you mired in the past, or Pisces inner planets, or Pisces moon. So being able to see things as they are is the first step. The Page of Swords is about being able to keep alert for signs that somebody is trying to do something. Not be paranoid, but just not being oblivious either. So the Ace of Swords could be about cutting through some illusion that you had. Maybe it's an illusion that you used to preserve your childhood because you wanted it to seem like everything was perfect, and you realize now that that was far from true. But that'll free you so that you're able to move forward. It's funny that I see these lightning strikes. It's like kind of like that eureka moment where you're like, so that's why I am the way I am. And that kind of just ultimately, or instantaneously frees you to be able to take different actions. So you're not looping, you're not going back and forth, back into this unhealthy pattern. And then we have here, this is more of the practical advice, the Two of Pentacles. Sometimes this can indicate a choice. If this is a work situation, you may be getting a second job in order to ease into something else if you're working for, you know, a female boss from hell. And you know, that's interesting. I didn't give you the scenario. The Mother of Swords could be that you're with somebody who has a baby mama. Oh God, is that word now passé? Probably, I don't know. But it's kind of fun to say it once in a while, and try not to cringe. But somebody who has a child with another woman, and that person is behaving like a total wench from hell towards you, perhaps, and, you know, kind of like blaming you for things, and you may have nothing to do with the situation. You may not have gotten involved with this person while they were with this woman, but they still are being verbally abusive to you and all that stuff. And the Two of Pentacles might be you making the choice whether or not you want to continue with this person, because they have a connection, obviously, being connected through a child, and there's no way to get around that. And this person may be exploiting that, knowing that I got this person, they have to be with me, they have to deal with me because we have a child together. So it's almost like using the child as a way to put a wedge between you and this person. And you may kind of suspect that your partner isn't doing enough to discourage the abuse, or that they are not fully done with that relationship and they want to have both of you. So it might be one of those deals. What's coming in is represented by the Three of Wands. This could be something where you decide that you're going to live someplace else, and you may just make a drastic move. Now remember that this is just the second half of May, so these themes may be playing out long after this period of time. I'm just I can't seem to get away from longer spreads that kind of maybe talking about long-term things. So just keep that in mind. The Three of Wands can also be entrepreneurship. I can never say that word. So if you're working for somebody else, you may say, screw that. I'm going to be working for myself, and then I don't have to deal with these types of petty tyrants anymore. And the outcome, I did pick an additional card because the Four of Cups is one of those cards that I never feel is a real card of resolution. And it's the Four of Cups. This is a card, I mean, this is so gruesome to me. It's a card that can have a rather gruesome or unappealing definition or interpretation, in the sense that it's a card of dissatisfaction. So if someone is going through the motions in life and they don't really feel like they have much to look forward to, there may be this sense of, I don't know, not really feeling very enthused about where they're at. So maybe it's like a cautionary tale that if you don't make changes on your end, Aries, that you could end up in this holding pattern where you're working for somebody who is really mean to you, and yet and so that kind of like affects you in your life in general, where you feel kind of like dissatisfied with life in general. And or in a personal relationship where you're not happy with the direction things have turned. You might feel that this other person isn't being fair to you, is kind of treating you with, how would I put it, not really being caring about how this is affecting you. And so that can be disillusioning as well. I picked that additional card, and I got the Tower card. So it's about things happening regardless. Somebody posed an interesting question to me about, because I think I mentioned the Tower, and they said, well, what about, I thought we had free will. And I believe that we do have free will. I think I had said something to the point that if you don't do anything, which this card can indicate just being kind of in a malaise. Usually Aries people will take action, but sometimes anybody, you know, who gets discouraged can kind of feel in a rut. And something can come along with the Tower to kind of shake you out of that complacency and put you back on track. But what I said in this other reading, which was a totally different scenario, but it was the same premise, which is that the Tower card can say you make the change, or the universe will make the change for you. And I didn't come up with that. I read somewhere that the thing is that sometimes people are afraid to take action, and so they just let things continue and continue. Well, eventually, you know, life is all about change, so something from the outer world comes in to alter your personal situation. And yeah, you don't have to take action if that feels scary, but then the result that you get is not necessarily something that you can control. So with the Tower card, something may come down to shake you into a sense of urgency and make you do something. But that will be on the universe's terms. And this person was basically saying, yeah, but I thought we had control. Well, you only have free will if you take it on. if you refuse to accept that you have free will and take action, inspired action, then of course something may come out of the blue. Now, I don't believe anything is random. So even if something comes that you were not expecting, that kind of shocks you out of your complacency, I don't think that you can just clutch your pearls and say, oh my God, why did this happen? It will be related to, probably will be related to something that you did not do that had some other effect. You know, even your non-action is a choice, and the universe will respond accordingly. But basically, I also was telling that person that I do believe there's a kind of a, it's not like either or. I think that our lives are preordained in some instances, and they're also free will. Because I think even the preordination is something we may choose our parents, we may choose our bodies, what kind of bodies we're going to have before we get here. But once we get here, we're stuck with those bodies. If you have a body and that body cannot see, the eyes are blinded, you're automatically going to have certain limitations in your incarnation. Unless they develop some cure for blindness, you're going to have to do, there's certain things you're not going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to drive a car. You're not going to be able to do certain, achieve certain things, do certain occupations. So there is a limitation in that sense. What I am saying is that, so that you could call that fate or karma or what have you, I believe that we choose these things too at a higher level before we get here. But that's, that's another story for another day, and really ultimately is not important as long as you don't feel that you're being cursed, And with the Tower, I don't think of it as a curse. I think of it as a call to action. And it kind of can be like a boost. It's like if somebody has a heart attack, that can scare them into a healthier diet. I mean, yeah, there are some people, they have a heart attack and they go back to their old ways. But some people take that experience and use that as the catalyst. That was the word I was looking for a better life. Well, this can be a catalyst for you in some way. If you're feeling this sense of being in a malaise and you can't feel motivated for whatever reason. But, it can be love at first sight. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and you're dissatisfied with them because maybe they are involved with another person, even if it's not romantically, the mother of their child who is being very abusive to you, and whatever the scenario is. And you meet somebody else, and instantaneously it's like you go from this to a sense of excitement. Okay, Aries, that's what I have for you. So I hope that some of these cards resonated with you. If you'd like a private reading, that, most are more geared to astrological information through your natal chart, but personalized for you. Please click on the link below that takes you to my online store. Take care. Bye.